He wanted art to be for everybody, and he wanted art to be fun.
We cling to the familiar even if the familiar was miserable.
It's so therapeutic, and I can really get lost in that process.
Today on Spotlight, a $95 million project has the Botanical Garden moving some expensive merchandise. Plus, it's that time of year to work on yourself, so maybe you should talk to someone. And then chess gets a resurgence thanks to Netflix inside the Hall of Fame. But first, buy local from talented artists with a vintage vibe. It's Sunday, and you're watching the Emmy Award-winning Spotlight.
It is really a long-time dream and passion of mine. I have a collective of 20 plus local artists, and also we mix in a little bit of vintage and antique items to keep the gallery really approachable and we're not too stuffy, for sure. My name is Gregory Dearlum. I'm the owner and curator of Arts Meets Vintage Gallery. The great thing about Art Meets Vintage for me, and why I really wanted to create this type of space, is it really combined my two passions. That being art, to show my work in a professional space, and also offer that opportunity for a lot of artists that are up and coming in the St. Louis and St. Charles area. I loved art since I was a kid. I loved cartoons. It was one of my very first interests in, I guess, in an art form, in a creative form. I loved to doodle, and I would sketch Garfield and other cartoons. And through that process, I think my parents really, they saw a creative talent in me from a really young age. My art currently, I work in two mediums, primarily oil. I love larger abstract in subject matter, and then I also create in glass. My glass work, it starts from an inspiration of the cast-offs of other glass artists. I go through scrap bins of glass. I find pieces that I love just as individual little pieces. And then I create works where I'm working those together, almost like a puzzle. My glass work is a little bit more of an exercise, I guess, in upcycling and saving things. I create infused glass. It's a little different medium than blown glass, but I really wanted to push the envelope of fused glass. My fused glass sculptures primarily incorporate a lot of vintage pieces within them. I am not a welder, or I'm definitely more creative. I really wanted to find something that would really integrate well with my glass work. In vintage shops, I found older erector sets and builder sets, and I started creating just interesting abstract forms in those sets, sometimes pushing them in directions that they weren't really meant to go to create these almost like kinetic bases where the glass seems in itself that it could move because of the organic shape that I've tried to achieve with my work. And then also the kinetic shapes and almost like kinetic movement of the bases. I really know the importance of art. I know how important it was in my life. It's so therapeutic, and I can really get lost in that process of just creating my composition with all these little pieces to create a larger work.
Follow HEC Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
There's a project going on at the Missouri Botanical Garden that's a little like taking down and packing away precious Christmas ornaments. Except there are 928 of these one-of-a-kind pieces with a total value of about $1 million.
I see that person grabbing that piece of glass, and I think, I couldn't do that because I might drop it.
That's why the garden hired specialists out of Seattle to do this meticulous job. They're trained and certified by the world-renowned Dale Chihuly glassblowing team that created this piece of artwork specifically for this location in 2006.
It's the most impressive at nighttime when it's lit up and you're driving down the street and it really stands out. It gives me goosebumps almost.
So why take it down? Well, the entire building around it is coming down in January.
It's exciting in a way. I mean, it's another change in the history of the garden.
A $95 million change, funded entirely through private donations. The project includes a new 90,000 square foot visitor center that's scheduled to open in 2022. It's larger than the current Ridgeway entrance, built in 1982, and will have more restrooms, amenities, and visual lines to the garden.
This project will be transformative for the garden, setting the garden up for the future to provide wonderful facilities and wonderful service for our visitors.
Until the new visitor center is completed, guests will access the garden through a temporary entrance, which will eventually become an event center. But what will happen to this 20-foot tall, 2,300-pound sculpture that's welcomed guests for so many years?
Starting in January, this will be the home for the new Chihuly Chandelier. But installing it here in the Climatron presents a couple challenges.
The Climatron is a whole different situation, and we have a specialized lift that you use for horticultural activities called Tupin lift, and it has articulating booms that we'll be able to get and place it in one location in there. We've already had one practice run and make sure that we can then reach all sides of the sculpture and hang the piece.
It will take 4 of these specialists about 5 days to carefully clean the sculptural glass and reassemble it in the Climatron, which, like this process, will probably be just as tedious and nerve-wracking to watch.
It causes a little heartburn when you see somebody do it and you think they can't bump it against the railing of that lift or anything else. It might break.
HEC celebrates St. Louis like no other media outlet, highlighting those making a difference through science and technology.
It's a wonderful community of young entrepreneurs who are all doing very amazing things.
Focusing on arts and education.
Poverty is not going to stop a student from getting a quality education. We can't let that happen.
Broadcasting meetings and functions to educate and inform our community.
St. Louis feels like a city on the road to extraordinary things.
Producing compelling documentaries celebrating our region.
Henry Shaw founded the Missouri Botanical Garden, one of the first of its kind in the country and one of the best of its kind in the world.
Visit hecmedia.org for up-to-date, locally produced stories about the people and organizations who make St. Louis great.
As a New York Times bestselling author, psychotherapist, national advice columnist, and TED speaker, Lori Gottlieb brings a hilarious and thought-provoking glimpse into the therapist world, where her patients are looking for answers, and so is she. In her new book, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone.
It's funny because this isn't the kind of thing where you wake up and you say, I'm going to write a book about myself in therapy, especially if you're a therapist. It's very taboo.
As a therapist, Gottlieb shares how she listens to the music under the lyrics.
A therapist will hold up a mirror to you and help you to see your reflection in a way that maybe you've chosen not to or didn't even look to see. And that's what's really important. I always say that I'm listening for the music under the lyrics. So the lyrics are, here's this breakup. The music is, what is the underlying struggle or pattern that got you into this situation in the first place?
How we are all unreliable narrators of our own stories.
Not because we're purposely misleading, but because we see the story through our own lens.
And shows us what therapy really is, debunking some myths and preconceptions along the way.
One of the things I hope to do in the book is to show, by bringing people in, what it is and what it's not. And some of the reasons that people might not go is they think that you're damaged, something is seriously wrong with you. You're all of a sudden people will perceive you as being broken, damaged, you're the problem. And usually in a family system, the healthiest person in the family is the one who says, I want to go get help.
How would you classify your book?
Yeah, it's sort of a hybrid of things. In the book, I follow 4 very different patients. Then there's a 5th patient, and that's me as I go through my own therapy. And I really feel like in terms of self-help, a lot of people see themselves in the stories. And I think it's very helpful because I think that we are more apt to notice something about ourselves if we see it through the lens of somebody else.
This book was so refreshing because I see my therapist as this omniscient, infallible human, but you're all just human.
That's right. In fact, I say at the very beginning of the book that my most significant credential is that I'm a card-carrying member of the human race, that if we weren't just human, we wouldn't be able to help people as effectively.
Let's talk about pain and our experience with pain.
Right. So I like to say, and I say in the book, that there's no hierarchy of pain. And I think so many times we minimize our pain or we try to ignore it. We think it's not worthy of big disgust. But we don't do that with our physical health, right? So if something feels off in our bodies, we'll go get it checked out before we have a massive heart attack. If something feels off emotionally, often we will wait. We will think, well, it's not that bad, or I'll just kind of, stiff upper lip. And then people come to me when they're having the equivalent of an emotional heart attack. And they don't need to suffer so much. And also it's harder to treat if you let it go that long.
Like you said in your book, it's just a breakup and you're crying in your therapist's office.
People do that with a lot of things. They say, oh, I had a miscarriage, but I didn't lose an 8-year-old, right? People are minimizing their pain all the time.
I found one major underlying theme of your book is change, and how people are so reluctant to change, even if it's a good change. Why is that?
Yeah, people don't realize that. They think, well, I'm making a positive change, so it should be easy. But change is hard because all change, even really positive change, involves loss. We're losing the familiar. I'm getting married. That's great, but you're losing something that was familiar to you. Or I'm going to take this new job, but it's scary because there's uncertainty about it. And for really deep changes, they're so ingrained in us, the patterns and behaviors are so ingrained that we cling to the familiar even if the familiar was miserable, because at least it's the devil we know.
Text Lori to 31996 to watch the full interview and learn how working on the TV show ER inspired her therapy career. Or download our Talking with Authors podcast.
HEC Media presents Talking with Authors, the podcast. Your favorite writers and genres, with diverse subjects and styles, with new podcasts dropping bi-weekly. Subscribe to Talking with Authors wherever you get your podcasts.
You may control your weight, control what you eat, build daily routines to maintain a healthy lifestyle and healthy look, but one thing you can't control or change is the passing of time, your age. Some may look for help in the form of anti-aging powders or pills. One hot trend is NMN supplements. Nicotinamide mononucleotide is advertised by many companies at a range of affordable prices. Dr. Sheen Ichiro Amai at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis is a leader on NMN research. The focus of his lab is basic mechanics of aging and longevity. His research indicates NMN can possibly slow signs of aging, boost energy, and rejuvenate metabolism.
NMN is remarkable because it really increases this essential compound NAD, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. And this compound NAD is required to maintain our energy and our metabolism. Regulating NAD is very important to activate these enzymes, sirtuins, and the sirtuins absolutely require this compound NAD for their enzymatic activities, and then regulate metabolism, and eventually the process of aging and longevity. When NAD levels increase in our organs and the tissues, then our body functions are improved. This essential compound NAD is really declining over age. So basically our body is losing NAD over time. That's why when we supplement NMN, which increases NAD levels, that really significantly improves our body functions.
But when it comes to supplements on the market, he shares a stern warning.
Because as far as I can tell, there are only 2 sources of NMN. which have been extensively tested in both rodents and humans. And one is unfortunately not commercially available. This particular company is providing NMN as a only research reagent. The other company is providing a commercially available product. But the bottom line is that right now, the production of NMN is not cheap.
Sure, NMN is a natural chemical compound. Our bodies produce NMN, and it's found in produce we eat, like broccoli, cabbage, avocado, cucumber, and edamame. But Dr. Amai says manufacturing NMN is not easy. He won't name what he says is a true consumer product or company because he won't endorse a product. But he says the price tag for what he calls a real NMN nutraceutical is not considered affordable for everyone, costing an individual many thousands of dollars every year. Amai is considered an authority on the matter. He is the first researcher to prove that NMN works in mice.
Our lab demonstrated that giving NMN to mice over 12 months showed a remarkable anti-aging effect.
He says daily NMN intake would provide a person with a metabolism that's 10 to 20 years younger. So Amai launched a small clinical trial with what he calls a real and true NMN nutraceutical, not a supplement.
The dose is a 250 milligram per day for 8 to 10 weeks.
Details of the first trial are not released as it's pending publication. But based on the results, Amai is principal investigator of a second, larger NMN clinical trial now underway. The idea is to increase the quality of life of people as they get older, increasing productive aging. As his studies continue, Amai says people around the world are investing in the same nutraceutical he's investigating.
There are already thousands of people who are taking NMN. We need to prove the efficacy scientifically in human clinical trial.
Keith Haring Radiant Gambit is the largest solo exhibition of Keith Haring works ever in St. Louis. It's here at the World Chess Hall of Fame, and we have featured over 130 works, almost completely from a private collection, but we added additional works to it, including loans from the Mildred Lane Kemper Art Museum at Washington University here in St. Louis, photographs from a photographer, Alan Tenenbaum, 4 bespoke chess sets created by street artists who are influenced by Keith Haring. And one of the most special parts of this exhibition is we commissioned 4 St. Louis artists to create brand new works inspired by chess and Keith Haring. We have Stan Chisholm, who has exhibited here at the World Chess Hall of Fame before. He was a great friend. Dale Chambers, who is brand new to our program. Pete Walliger, who is a huge Keith Haring fan, as you can tell from his piece. He's also worked with us before. And Ido Rosenblith, who is a first-time artist. What is so amazing is that we commissioned these pieces and now they are part of our permanent collection, so we can continue to share them with our public. Keith Haring is so significant in terms of art history and American street art. He was born in Pennsylvania in 1958, and he moved to New York City to attend the School of Visual Arts. He was at the perfect place at the perfect time in New York. He was really interested in the alternative art movement at that time, where it was taking art out of museums and galleries and into the street. He became known so much for jumping out of subway cars and creating artwork in the subway systems. He wanted to make art accessible to everybody, and he wanted everybody to have access to it and be able to enjoy it. And that is what is core of our mission here at the World Chess Hall of Fame with chess, is that we want to make chess accessible to everybody and fun for everybody. Keith had a short life. Unfortunately, he died at the age of 31 from AIDS-related complications in 1990. But before he died in 1989, he set up the Keith Haring Foundation, which is still in existence today. They support his exhibitions and sales of his work and related merchandise. Those proceeds still benefit AIDS research and children's hospitals. Keith wasn't a chess player, and he didn't create a lot of chess-related artwork, but his foundation did. They created 2 incredible chess sets, one of which was just sold by the Museum of Modern Art's gift shop just 2 years ago. It's a beautiful, simple wooden piece that features his characters in it. It was sold at a very low price point, again, kind of reiterating Keith's whole mission of making art accessible to everybody. The second chess set was created in a much more limited edition, and it was sold through art galleries. And we are so happy to be able to have this connection between Keith and chess here so we can present his wonderful mission at the World Chess Hall of Fame. Keith's work fits so well in our mission to promote the game to everybody and to make chess fun. He wanted art to be for everybody, and he wanted art to be fun. Keith Haring Radiant Gambit closes on May 16th, 2021. So there's tons of time for you to come down to the World Chess Hall of Fame. We are open 7 days a week, and you can find out all of our information about this exhibition and our other exhibitions at worldchesshof.org.
Relax with a little blues music later on Spotlight.
We all do it. You go to a restaurant and you want to share your experience with your friends. So what do? You take a picture of your meal and post it online. But did you know there's now a way you could turn that photo of your food into actual food for someone in need?
GiftAMeal is a mobile app that helps provide a meal to someone in need each time someone snaps a photo at a partner restaurant. So we're a blend of restaurant marketing and giving back. Restaurants pay a monthly subscription to be on our app, and each time someone takes a photo, we make a donation to a local food bank that helps provide one meal to a pantry so someone in need could access it.
In St. Louis, those donations are made to Operation Food Search, which then distributes the food to more than 300 local food pantries. Andrew came up with the idea for GiftAMeal while he was still a student at WashU. Here's how it works.
So we have over 150 restaurants on the app. And so every time you're at one of our partner restaurants like Turn, you could click to take a photo. So here I'm going to take my quick picture. You could write a caption if you want, like love, Turn. Toss in an emoji. Click confirm, and then it verifies that I'm actually at Turn, and it's submitting that photo to GiftAMeal. And there we go, it's that easy. So now I just provided a meal to someone in need.
The restaurants pay a subscription fee, and when you post a picture online through the app, GiftAMeal pays the cost of donating 1.2 pounds of food to a local food bank. And if you then share a photo on Facebook or Instagram, GiftAMeal will donate a second meal. To date, GiftAMeal has provided more than 500,000 meals. That's 600,000 pounds of food. And because of COVID-19, they are temporarily allowing people to take pictures off-site to donate meals for takeout, delivery, and gift card purchases.
The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive from the restaurants.
It's been really beneficial for us as far as customers coming in who've seen us being tagged in a GiftAMeal post, or I think also that when customers come in and they see the tents up, they really want to be a part of this great product and this app, and they'll order an extra thing just to take a picture so they can say they post it, and also to give back to the charity, so it's great.
The app is free and available on both Apple and Android phones.
So for all of you watching this, if you download GiftAMeal and use the promo code HEC when you sign up, you'll give your first meal to someone in need through Operation Food Search right off the bat.
There are currently more than 130 participating restaurants in St. Louis, with more in Chicago and Detroit, and plans are in the works to eventually go nationwide.
In partnership with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, here's Songs of America. Visit SLSO.org to see more from the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra.
St. Louis, we're going through difficult, confusing, and often frightening times. But HEC Media is here for you in new and expanded ways with free educational resources.
It is so in-depth.
Critically acclaimed author interviews.
Books save you, I think, if you're going through a bad time.
Virtual art fairs.
This allows our patrons to shop a variety of artists.
Local COVID research.
This is kind of a home run, a dream response to the vaccine.
Fundraising for artists, virtual concerts, and much more. HEC is honored to help our arts and cultural communities survive and thrive, and to show you there is strength and hope in St. Louis.
Next week, a woman who's helped immigrants from all over the world for the last 42 years. Plus, an author explores family secrets and memories through hieroglyphics. Thanks for watching Spotlight. Join us next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. on KPLR 11.